post-game locker room responsibilities from Oklahoma City. Toyota may make it easy, but the Thunder guys, they do not. Let's just say that. This one over rather quickly. If you're watching from the beginning, the Thunder put up 44 in the first quarter, 38 in the second. They led by 31 at the half, which means they did it on both ends of the floor. I do want to get to obviously the game aspect of all this, but I think the real concern here moving forward here down the stretch is what we saw with Luka Doncic there in the third quarter, in noticeable pain, grabbing the hamstring as he did walk off on his own power, which is a good sign there to the locker room. But I think all of our attention is certainly going to be on that over the next several hours and days. The Lakers' next play on Sunday. But outside of that big game, the Thunder are exactly who they have been, the defending champs. They got the reigning MVP, and they play as such. Just a couple of stats to throw at you. 14 different guys scored for the Thunder, 73 bench points. They forced 18 turnovers, a lot of them early, which set the tone for 24 Thunder points, 13 offensive rebounds for 18 points. I mean, pick your poison.
12 steals. You know, they had 32 assists to the Lakers' 20, 64 points in the paint. It goes to show you the difference between a championship team that has a system that knows how to win every night. Regardless, they just plug in players. I mean, I thought Dort was the most valuable player in the first half. He hit threes. Everyone was knocking down shots. Hartenstein, you know, was getting offensive rebounds. They were physically better, and they just pushed the Lakers into an offensive frenzy that they just couldn't get past the defense. You know, because if you're looking for switching, which Luka does a lot, it doesn't matter. You know, you switch against Oklahoma, there's no advantage to that. So he had a tough time finding his comfort shots, and all the Lakers really just couldn't get anything going. So it was a tough game. It's only one game. A loss is a loss, whether you lose by 100 or 1. But I think the Lakers need to take a look at where they need to get to. Not a fresh start either. You got to start tougher and bigger and faster when you're playing against Oklahoma on the road. And they just Oklahoma just brought it to them physically early.
Yeah, that start, James. I mean, Lakers are down 23 after 1. What happened there? I mean, OKC, they made 7 threes. You know, they had 7 steals in that first quarter. 7 steals for OKC in 1 quarter. Marinate on that for a minute. That's
I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's not marinate on that. But I feel like, you know, OKC kind of punched the Lakers in the lip early, and the Lakers just, when you're down 44-21 after 1, James, that's a problem. That's an issue. And you know, there's a couple things here. The Lakers' momentum was so good coming off the month of March. We've devoted a lot of time to it lately. You know, they were 15-2 in March, and it's like, okay, we know this. We knew this would be a test. OKC was favored by 9.5. That's a pretty sizable spread against a third-place team in the West. And then you also have, you know, how's Luka? He looked really upset after that hamstring injury. I didn't think that was a good reaction by him. And also, how's Austin Reaves? He was kind of clutching his back a few times, James, and you know, he just. You know, AR didn't. There's no medical update for him. He didn't leave the game like Luka did. But you know, the good news, the only good news, perhaps, Ellie, they play OKC again in 5 days here in Los Angeles. So not overlooking Dallas on Easter Sunday, but that's a team you should beat. And then you get a rematch against the champs, but it's going to be here in Los Angeles.
You know, you bring up the good point about the momentum from the month of March, 15-2 for the Lakers. And we talked about this in the pregame. Between these two squads combined, they were 29-3 in the month of March. So you do have 2 of the top 3 going head-to-head, and there were so many expectations coming in. Also, the league's leading scorer in Luka Doncic and the second leading scorer in terms of Shai Gilgeous. And I say it from that standpoint of, you mentioned it, Big Game, like, how do you just look at this? We're in April. You know how close you are to the postseason and how you want to be playing and how good you had just been playing for a good stretch. How do you kind of turn the page and really utilize this to get better, but also not let it discourage you at this point?
Can't let it discourage you. Out of 82 games, you never want to have a game like this. I mean, regardless of whether it's January or now. But against Oklahoma, you do have them in 5 days. You stuck up the gym a little bit. And it wasn't really all your fault. It's just Oklahoma is damn good, and their defense is really tough. So the Lakers have to look at film, you know, have a meeting of the minds, realize where they had been before they played Oklahoma, and also see where they have to uplift themselves when they're playing against a championship team. This is a championship team they played against tonight, so they gotta put a little bit more in the tank in order to get close to competing with them. And it starts with a tough start mentally, and you gotta meet force with force. And I think when Oklahoma realized that the Lakers weren't going to meet them with the physicality, they just pushed them around, steals, offensive rebounds, just about whatever they want. And then when you have 71 points off the bench, my God, that's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, and giving up 82 in that first half. I mean, that's a lot. It was funny. About 15 years ago, when I was still at the LA Times, James, the Lakers got beat badly by someone. I don't remember who it was. And Allie, all us reporters kind of crowded around Kobe's locker room after the game. Locker, I should say, in the locker room. And we were like, Kobe, what do you do? What's next for the team? And he said two words that I always remember. He said, flush it. I remember saying, excuse me? He was like, yeah, you just flush it.
Short-term memory.
You just get rid of this game. And that's what the Lakers have to do. They probably won't find much on tape that's going to, first of all, the players won't want to look at it. I'm sure there might be some instruction from J.J. Redick on it, but a game like this, it's so one-sided, James. I think you just got to quote the immortal Kobe, just flush it, and move on from there.
You also have to tip your cap to the Thunder because they are the real deal.
They're champions.
Their depth.
And they're seeking another one. Winning one championship is okay, but they've seen back-to-back. They've seen, Michael. They've seen the Lakers go three-peat. So at least back-to-back with this squad and the draft picks that they have in the future, they may be going for quadruple, man.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Don't forget, they started, 24-1? And I think Billy Mack said the variety of lineups, different lineups that they've had to utilize this season because of injuries in their own and still be able to sustain the level of excellence in which they do. There's nothing light about them.
Yeah, Coach of the Year.
Time to hear from Coach J.J. Redick, brought to you by your Toyota dealers.
JJ, what's the immediate situation with Luka's hamstring?
We'll do an MRI tomorrow, left hamstring. We'll know more tomorrow.
When it comes out just the beginning of that game, the intensity Oklahoma City brought, what do you think was the immediate moment in the game that kind of just...
I don't know that there was an immediate moment. I thought when the game started, we frankly had unforced turnovers. They had a lot more shots on goal to start the game. They made Lou Dort, coming out making threes was big. We settled in offensively in the second quarter, but just could never really get it going defensively for us. And that was on a night when, Shea played 30 minutes and took 25 shots and scored 28 points, did a good job of not keeping him off the free throw line. But, he's going to get his, and those other guys, they made a lot of threes. And then the turnovers, obviously they killed us, and we were, better in the second half. But the 8 turnovers in the first quarter really hurt us.
Came back, obviously, but what kind of update do you have on how he's doing? He was
in a weird position, stretching for a basketball, loose ball, and just felt something like intercostal, somewhere in his back, in between the ribs. He was able to play through it and battle back, but we'll see how he feels tomorrow.
I don't know if you got to talk to Luka, but just kind of how are his spirits if you were able to talk to him after he left?
I haven't spoken, other than words of encouragement.
You mentioned that Luka's going to have a MRI tomorrow. Noticed that he was grabbing at the hamstring. I think it was late in the first half. Did he say anything about that, or was that picked up?
Oh yeah, we checked him out. He got work done. He was cleared. I mean, we're not going to put a player at risk. Those things happen.
JJ, what is sort of an understanding that you guys aren't going to put players at risk? You have guys that want to be out there, want to play, want to compete, particularly, I would imagine, in a game like this. As you see these guys getting banged up, like throughout the course of the night, is there a thought to maybe going for another day because of where you guys are at in the season?
Going for a Navy?
Another day. Sorry, like
Going for another day.
yeah, like waiting. You know, I mean, like you said. I mean, Austin was grabbing at it in the first half. You know, grabbed at it the second time he was out there. Is there a thought that it's maybe not worth it to play him tonight, considering you guys are 2 weeks
Yeah, I
away?
mean, it was discussed at halftime. Thought we'd give those guys about 6 minutes, and then we were gonna, you know, if we didn't cut into the lead, we were gonna pull them. And obviously, it was around that time that I don't remember the exact time, but that happened.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
So again, like I said, Luka Doncic grabbing that hamstring, went back to the locker room at the third, did not return. They're saying he will get an MRI on Friday. So again, we sit here and we wait for the news on that, hoping that it's a good thing. JJ did say that he was getting worked on at halftime and was cleared to return to play.
Yeah, I mean, look, they have the medical staff that you know really monitors all these injuries and nagging injuries, and I'm sure it's up to the player after they do the physical therapy and all that stuff. They ask him if he can go, and apparently he said he could, but it looked like he totally re-aggravated right there, and it's going to cause him to get an MRI and see where we go from there. But sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes you feel good and you want to try to push it, and then it just something aggravates it once again, and then you have the situation that he has now.
Yeah, MRI is always a tricky thing. It's a very expensive machine. They don't have them at any arenas. They have x-rays. So if you think you busted your pinky, boom, you just walk next door to the locker room. They'll take some film of it and say it's broken or it's not. When you're talking MRI for ligaments or muscles, that's more of a production. So I'll have to go somewhere locally. I'm sure the Dallas team doctors will recommend where Luka can go in Dallas tomorrow, and he'll get it checked out. Hamstrings are tricky. They can be, it's could be a week, it could be 6 weeks. And I'm not saying at all what Luka's diagnosis is going to be. He could play next game if it's not that bad. So maybe not even a week. But you've got to see what the MRI says. And there's 3 levels. There's grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 hamstring strains. And hopefully we'll have more info tomorrow. And there's no rush to play against the Mavs. I don't want to disrespect them, but they're not a great team. Obviously, they've long been out of the playoffs. And maybe they just say, let's think about 5 days from now. Maybe Luka comes back for the rematch here in LA against OKC.
Yes, we will all wait word on that. The MRI for Luka Doncic and his hamstring is on Friday. Having said that, let's turn our attention from one MVP candidate to an MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Big game on a night where he really just had to kind of do his thing. He ended with 28. He was a plus 35 on 12 of 25 shooting. SGA, pretty smooth.
Not only is he a great player, most valuable player, but he's a leader. He's a really good leader. He knows how to ignite his team. He made some great passes early in the game, got guys involved, but getting downhill and getting to his spots is what he's known for. And look, sometimes you don't have to dominate the game. You don't have to score. You just have to be on the court, making passes, set whatever you have to do to get your teammates involved. And I think when he's on the floor, I think his teammates, they feel that vibe out there, and he's just a great leader, whether he's dominating with scoring or whether he's passing or just being on the court with his teammates.
James, he took 25 shots. I mean, he was pumping up a shot a minute, and why not? I mean, the Thunder had so many more offensive rebounds than the Lakers, so many more turnovers, forced so many more turnovers than the Lakers did. Just extra possessions is what that is. You could argue it's kind of like, to use a hockey analogy, I felt like OKC was on the power play that entire first quarter, maybe even the entire first half, James. I mean, they were just that outstanding, the way they forced the turnovers and then buried a lot of threes, too. It was really a double whammy for the Lakers in that first 12 minutes. Hard to recover from a start like that on the road against obviously a very, very good OKC team.
It is just an interesting thing when you look at the box score and you see, as we mentioned, all but one guy scored, but every guy for the Thunder attempted at least a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that type of game, right? You empty the benches in the fourth quarter.
71 points off the bench.
Yeah, that's crazy, James.
That's a lot of points.
No, that's a lot of offense from those guys.
And with that, we go on to the highlight and show you, in case you missed it.
Show something, and that was, just overall, Jake LaRavia, his effort, his defense, his toughness. He's been playing physical. that's one good bright spot for the Lakers moving forward as they go into the rest of the season, the playoffs, that he's really improved on the defensive end. He has size, did a good job against Donovan. He's had some good matchups, so that's good for Jake.
Yeah, let's not forget the Lakers went without Marcus Smart today, so they were already down a pretty good defender, and Jake stepped in there, and I thought he did pretty well. He made SGA work for his points. SGA made only 1 3. And took a lot of shots. A shot literally almost every minute that he was on the court for, I think he was playing whatever he played. It was a lot. And Jake made him work for it, so I give him credit.
Let's head back out to Oklahoma City. LeBron James is with Mike Trudell in the media.
Is there any comfort knowing that you do have as much time as you could have, I suppose?
Well, I mean, there's never a time to get comfortable in this league. The only thing we do know is that we won't be in the playoff, the play-in. So we have that week, but I mean, health is wealth. I mean, obviously, and like I said, we're already out with Marcus right now, and now Luka. We don't know what the timetable is, but obviously, we'll see what happens.
Mark Daigneault referred to the idea of, last year you guys came here, you beat them pretty handily in the first of 2 games, and he said sometimes it's good to get bloodied so you can respond. How do you internalize a loss like this, knowing that you guys play them in a few days as well?
I mean, obviously our mindset should be about Dallas and not OKC. That's our next matchup, and then we'll get to them. But yeah, we understand and know what they're capable of, and they beat the shit out of us tonight, obviously from the start. And so when we get to that point, we'll address that. But we have another game on this road trip.
Part of you guys' success post All-Star game has been taking care of the basketball. What do they do that make it so tough to?
They just have multiple wing defenders, multiple guys that can get up in the ball. They try to speed you up as much as they can. They got great hands. They got great length. And it's hard versus a team like that when you're giving them pick sixes. I think we had 8 turnovers for 14 points like in the first 7 minutes of the game. That's the game right there.
You knew what to expect, obviously, with the way that they play. Is there a difference between, when you haven't seen a team that's capable of that level of ball pressure for a little while? Do you expect?
Sometimes it takes a little bit to get adjusted to, when you haven't played a team like that in a while. But we've had some teams that kind of put the pressure on you, not to that capacity to have so many. I mean, and they were still without AC as well. Another one of those pesky, wing defenders that can, heckle the ball. So, but they did a great job. Obviously, they're defending champs, and we expect them nonetheless. We didn't, combat that.
You guys have been remarkably together over the last month. Is this where that gets tested?
No, nothing has changed. We still will be. Obviously, be tested. Obviously, with our, with the head of the snake. Obviously, don't want to make no conclusions, but we see what happens with him. And then we'll go from there, but nothing is rattled. It's one game. It's part of the NBA season. As defending champions, we get it. We understand.
If he misses some time, no matter what it is, what's the process for you to shift from the role you've been in to whatever the role would be asked of you while he's out?
I don't know what the role will be asked of me. I don't know. I mean, we have to see what that role will be. I've been in this one for a minute now, so it'll be an adjustment, but we'll see.
I like the line there. Health is wealth as we await the word on Luka Doncic, but also wait for the return of Marcus Smart. But Big Game, I'm actually going to let you share what you just shared, just in terms of how good they were in the month of March and what that can show you about a night like tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Lakers have really done a remarkable job of finding, who they are, their identity, their defense. But when you play against a championship pedigree like Oklahoma, and they haven't just been playing great overnight. They are champions. They have the MVP, and it kind of shows you where you have to get to. I don't think the Lakers, it was a horrible game. I know they can play better, especially if they got like Marcus Smart in there to set the tone defensively. But it does show them the tone, the attitude, the physicality, the way you have to prepare mentally to even start a game. I mean, from the beginning of the game, Oklahoma jumped on them so quickly, and they can't allow that to happen. So, but they see where they are right now. 5 days from now, they'll get that second test.
Yeah, really, the only thing that has stopped OKC this entire season is injuries and the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs are 4-1 against them. Remember, they had that extra game in the in-season tournament in the NBA Cup, and they beat them in that, too. So it's been an amazing run for the Spurs, but the rest of the NBA needs to figure out how to do this as well. And I still go back to what we said on the pregame show. When the Lakers played OKC here in LA in early February, there was no Luka and there's no Shea, so that kind of canceled each other out right there. Allie, it went down to the wire. The teams are tied with like 4 or 5 minutes left, and then Jalen Williams starts, taking over in the end, and OKC wins by 9. I would say that was a little deceptive. It didn't even seem that close. So the Lakers can play with these guys. Maybe that's the tape that JJ shows the team before they play again in the 5 days, because that game was obviously much more competitive than this game, or when they faced each other long ago, right after the season started. I believe it was November, and OKC won that one pretty handily too against the Lakers.
Walk us through it. I'll come back to you on this. As we just heard LeBron say, you have to obviously take it one game at a time. As much as you want to look to that next test with the Thunder next Tuesday, you still have Dallas ahead of you on Sunday because, as we talked about in the pregame show, the magic number coming in for the Lakers was 4 when it came to solidifying that 3 seed. Yeah, and the good news for the Lakers is Denver has a tough matchup Saturday. They're playing the Spurs, who we just gave some props to. So, maybe Denver, they're only about a game and a half behind the Lakers. Maybe after tonight's Laker loss, maybe they fall back to 2 games back if the Spurs beat them. So, the Lakers, I still say if they go at least 3-3, they're gonna sew up that 3rd seed. Denver's not going to go 6-0, and it's just when will Luka be back? And hopefully we hear from Austin and see how he's doing tonight. That's the thing. So with 5 left, you have to go 3-2. 3-2 now. Yeah. And with that said, as you mentioned, you'll really feel how real that 15-2 month of March was for the Lakers.
You're getting ready to see. You're getting ready to see in this how you recover versus Dallas. Regardless of who's in the game, they're going to have to figure out a way to win, and then you get to really look at. I don't know if JJ even wants to look at this film. Maybe go over your game plan of how you're going to start, how physical you have to play, and how you have to respond to their physicality and not let them push you around. Looking for mismatches is not going to work against this team. So when you pick and roll, it doesn't matter. Ayton, I thought he okay. It's sometimes he got some inside shots. Dribbled a few passes and turnovers, but they're going to need Rui. They're going to need the team to really perform when they play them the next time. Yeah, and James, the good news for the Lakers, their body of work, especially in March, was so important that they sewed up all these tiebreakers. Yeah. Houston, Minnesota, and most importantly right now, they got the tiebreaker with Denver. So there's no need to panic. It really was just one game on an 82-game schedule. The final score is not going to, win any beauty contest points, Allie, but they just got to go back to the fact that we've been playing really good basketball lately. We have the tiebreakers with the 3 teams right below us in the standings. Let's just close out with at least 3-2, maybe even 4-1 if you can make that happen. It just hit me that you were talking about how it's really hard to find a weakness on offense, but also defensively to pick on someone for Oklahoma City, and they still didn't have Alex Caruso. Yeah. How about that? Pictured out in the media.
I went back to get a rebound, overextended a little bit, and I felt decent now. So we'll see.
What's the emotional challenge of seeing something like Luka at this stage of his season go down, even as you guys don't know, how long you'll be without him at this point? How do you guys handle that as a team? Yeah, I mean, you wish for the best. Obviously, you don't want to see anybody, get hurt, but you just, hold on to some faith for the best news possible, and as I've gotten to know him the last year and a half, he's a competitor, so he'll do all he can do to put himself in a position to come back when he can.
Were you able to talk to him after the game?
Nah.
Austin, what happened to you on that rebound, and I guess how are you feeling now?
I just said I just overextended a little bit. I don't know what exactly happened, but got some treatment on it at halftime and was able to play. So that's a good sign.
Well, you guys had, I think it was 8 turnovers in the first 7.5 minutes. So what were the factors that you saw that kind of led to that?
I did a poor job starting the game. I had a couple turnovers back-to-back, and I think I might have had 4 in that first quarter. I just got to do better, give ourselves a better opportunity to get to a better start.
JJ's talked about kind of
wanting to exercise the playoff mentality at this point in the season. What kind of improvement do you guys need to make going forward for these last 5 games in terms of making sure you're tapping into that playoff mentality even before the playoffs start?
Just continue to do what we have been doing. I feel like we've, been really good recently. Tonight was obviously not what we wanted, but we don't need to overlook the fact that we've been playing good basketball, and what we're capable of. We'll watch film either tomorrow or Saturday and learn from this and move forward.
To your point, I think this is just the 3rd loss in the last 19 games. But JJ did tell us pregame that you guys know what time it is, marquee matchup against the defending champs. How do you, kind of square that away when you guys have been playing as well recently, but it is still a loss to a team like this at this point in the season?
They beat the shit out of us, but they're the defending champs. We've got to, be better. I don't know. Losing always sucks. It don't matter if you lose by 1 or 50. A loss is a loss. That's kind of how I look at it.
Indeed. I can't say what he and LeBron said, but you get the point. Big game, you're going to do a little Access 360.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Talking about the defense. I know, it's over. Talking about the defense the Lakers have been playing. Oklahoma has great offense, but their defense is where they succeed, and you're going to take